You may have survived Jirachi, David, but let's see if I can make you use up all your Red Lantern energy.
Holy shit. 1 year ago, I started up this little series because I had so much to say about these films that I couldn't fit them into a 2-3 minute content entry, and now here I am a year later, still doing this. Since that original review, I've received a good amount of positive feedback, and it's helped inspire me to keep going. I can't thank you guys enough for that, and I have no plans of stopping anytime soon. Hell, this December, I have plans to review Ruby Volume 3, and in 2017, once the marathon ends, I plan on reviewing more series outside of Pokemon. But until then, let's take a look at what you came here to see, my review of Pokemon, The Rise of Darkrai. So like the previous films, we get a World of Pokemon recap. Nothing of substance here, so let's move on. Wait, aren't you also dead, Lucario?
I guess we have the ability to reincarnate ourselves. Want to test that, Diddy?
Both of you, corner now! So after that recap, we get introduced to 2 Gen 4 legendary Pokemon, Palkia and Dialga, engaging in the most serious of fights. A staring contest! You blink.
Damn it, die, Dialga!
So they fight for a bit, and then we cut over to the Pokemon world where a man named Tonio is reading a book about time and space before the effects of Dialga and Palkia's fight begin to kick in, causing his house to shake and an hourglass to shatter.
Oh, damn it! Now how am I going to play Pictionary?
And speaking of breaking, during the fight, one of Palkia's gems cracks after getting hit by Dialga's Roar of Time. You know, for an deity of space, you have really fragile gems, Palkia. And no, this cracked gem doesn't really do much to Palkia's power. It can still use its powers and attacks just fine. The only reason I can guess as to why it's cracked is so that Palkia could try to escape to Alamos Town later? Maybe? Speaking of which, Ash, Brock, and Ash's Gen 4 companion Dawn arrive in Alamos Town after getting a ride from a character named Alice, and she decides to give him a tour of the place after the effects of Dialga and Palkia's fight caused some nasty turbulence for them. So as they go on the tour, they run into 3 trainers who have the final evolutions of the starters Ash and Dawn have, Empoleon and Torterra, and we have our obligatory opening montage. Well, it's good they're fighting these guys and not me, because if that was the case, all I'd need to do is have Touchy use Force Palm on Empoleon as well as Thunder Punch to finish the job, Ice Punch on Torterra, and then have Greninja finish off Infernape.
Hell, if we had the Lucario now, it could end the fight quicker.
Yeah. So after the fight, Ash's group goes to a garden located somewhere in the city, and after some scenes with their Pokemon interacting with the ones in the garden, as well as a relevant scene where Alice plays a song on a leaf that'll be used a lot as the film goes on, a Gallade pops out and leads them to an area where a few pillars were destroyed by what looked like a Pokemon, but none of them know what it is. Then we get introduced to our sort of antagonist to this film, Baron Alberto, who blames this on Darkrai, another Gen 4 legendary Pokemon. So Baron releases his Licky Licky and uses Hyper Beam on some bushes, thinking it's Darkrai, but it's revealed to be Tonio in the bushes, and he's not too happy about it. So Tonio shows Alice the readings he recorded around the time of Dialga and Palkia's fight, and then proceeds to study the pillars carefully. That is, before a poorly animated piece of debris falls on his head. Baron then tries to show his love for Alice by calling her his future wife, but Alice rejects him, causing Brock and Tonio to show signs of relief. So Palkia and Dialga fight again, because sure, why not? But after it ends, we see Darkrai for the first time in this film. So what does he do for an introduction? Tell them to go away and then uses Dark Void on those who try to attack him, including Ash. So for those who don't know, Darkrai basically puts the target to sleep. Darkrai has an ability that gives the people he uses this move on nightmares. We don't see Licky Licky's nightmare in this scene, but we do see Ash's, and it's genuinely creepy at points. Hell, if I saw this in my dreams, I'd be screaming, man, that looks like shit. So after Ash wakes up, Tonio says the time and space are going to be destroyed, and then runs off. We then cut over to Tonio's place, where he reads his great-grandpa's diary, and we get a flashback to long ago, where Alice's grandmother, Alicia, first met Darkrai after he caused a scare in the garden, and plays a song in her leaf, allowing the Pokemon to recover for some reason. Oh, and the song that plays is basically the same as the one Alice played later. See, I told you it'd be used a lot in this film. So after this, Team Rocket, who up to this point hasn't really done much, decides to help Alberto go after Darkrai. Over with our heroes, they decide to go into this really tall building and are amazed by the architecture. But as it turns out, Tonio's office/place is inside this building, and they find him asleep on the floor. After waking him up, he gives Alice a photo of Alicia and his great-grandfather, and she explains that the back of the picture is the music score for that song she played earlier in the garden named Duracion. Viabug says I butchered that pronunciation. So they go up the tower, we find out that the top contains a music player with little discs that can be inserted into it, and then plays one of the tracks before heading back down the tower. But by this point, Palkia tries to retreat from the fight by opening a portal, but ends up showing up in the dimension our heroes are located in, but is unable to pass through because the portal closes before Palkia could enter. But after that, Darkrai pops out again and basically kicks the asses of her heroes before disappearing into the ground. During the scene, he puts a lot of Pokemon to sleep, and their spirits are now roaming the town? What the hell? Also, Alberto gets transformed into Licky Licky. Okay, so after the fight ends, the three trainers from earlier in the film reveal that the entire town is covered in a mysterious fog, and now they can't leave. Okay, what the hell? When did Pokemon become Silent Hill? Are we gonna start seeing zombie Pokemon or something? In all seriousness, I like this bit. Sure, it doesn't really go anywhere in the grand scheme of things, but it does a good job setting up tension and suspense for the audience, and it did get me interested in what was going on.
But why, can't they just run through the fog?
Ash actually does try that, but ends up back in the town. So it seems like it was the work of a dimensional being. But Alberto doesn't think so, as he blames Darkrai for these events, even though all he's done so far is give them nightmares, and rallies the town to fight Darkrai. Cause sure, why not? It's not like dark's not evil's a thing. Thankfully, Alice and Tonio aren't idiots and think it was something else responsible for what is going on right now. We then get a flashback from Tonio where he tells the group that when he was a kid, he was walking down the road one day before he ran into a younger Alice who was on top of a cliff. As she was walking on said cliff, the area where she stood on broke apart and she fell off. Tonio tried to save her, but Darkrai came in and saved her from crashing into the ground. He then disappeared after putting her on the ground, just as Tonio ran over to see if she was okay, and Alice wakes up, hugging Tonio since she thought he saved her life. So this story convinces them that Darkrai isn't responsible, and they run off to confront him, while the other characters are currently beating the shit out of him. So Tonio realizes that these disturbances were caused by Palkia, and Ash comes to the realization that Darkrai was trying to warn them about Dialga and Palkia, but it's too late. Palkia arrives in their dimension and teleports the town into the unknown dimension. Ah shit, things are about to go down now. What the hell? Oh, for God's sakes, really?
A few moments later.
That's right! I teleported you into another dimension! This is not predictable at all! Now, prepare to feel the might of a space deity!
Oh shit, what are we going to do? We can't kill a space god.
What?! Thanks for wasting my time, asshole. Did you forget that I can also destroy animate objects? Next time, don't send plushies after me!
12 seconds later.
Fucking hell, where was I at? Oh, right. So Dialga shows up and tries to fight Palkia, but this results in everything going to shit. So in the climax, we see most of the characters doing something important, thank God, as they arrive at the tall building and realize that if they play Erasion, it should stop the fighting. Brock stops the meteors with his Pokemon, the trainers we saw earlier try to slow down the destruction of the city. Hell, even Dawn helps save the day as she creates the stairs for Ash after some of them dissipate as a result of the fighting, and helps charge up the machine later to get Erasion to play. This is good. It's nice to see a Pokemon film where it's not just Ash who's solely responsible for saving the day, but Ash and his allies as well. Also helps make the other characters more important to this film, which I think is an improvement over, say, the last Pokemon movie. But the fighting between the deities of time and space isn't stopping. It's actually worsening the conditions of the city, in fact, as more and more of the city dissipates into nothingness. Darkrai tries to stop the two, but ends up getting killed in the process after saving Alice's life, since she reminded him of Alicia.
Pokemon aren't meant to fight. Not like this.
Wow, that's actually fitting in this case. Shit. The Darkrai sacrifice was not in vain, as Ash and Dawn put the song in and activate the machine, playing Erasion for all to hear, and holy shit, this animation when the building transforms is gorgeous. Like, holy shit, this looks amazing. The coloring, the effects, the way it's animated, this shit looks amazing. Holy crap. Oh, if I wanted to be hyperbolic, I'd say I'd hang this shit on my wall. So this song stops the fighting, heals Palkia's gem, somehow, and all is good. But wait. What about the town? Well, after Ash tells off Palkia, Palkia agrees to return the town to normal and return it to its original dimension. After all that, the characters give a solemn farewell to Darkrai, but then it's revealed Darkrai survived. Wait, what? How did he survive? You know what? Whatever. The film ends with Alice and Tonio having a touching moment, and then close-up of Darkrai. The end. Roll credits.
On the DVD version.
Huh?
Oh, sorry. Let me turn on the video.
Well, you look different.
Alternate universe. Remember that version of you with the indigo lantern on his chest?
Wait, I thought that was a dream! How are you even communicating with me?
Hello, Star Sapphire. We can use wormholes, dummy.
Okay, you are a different Susan.
Anyways, the Cartoon Network airing of this film as well as the other TV broadcasts of this film did not air the end credits. It was only on the DVD version of these films, as well as possibly Netflix. The reason? Possibly time, though I failed to see why they couldn't air shorts until the next slot came out, especially since the end credits of this film are kinda relevant to the plot. Remember how Dawn said she wanted to compete in the Alamos contest?
Yeah?
Well, the only way you got to see that was in the end credits. Granted, it was a montage, but still. Oh, and Team Rocket's subplot was also wrapped up in the credits, as well as the scene where Dialga goes towards his next destination, which was meant to start up the next movie in the Diamond and Pearl trilogy, Giratina and the Sky Warrior.
Wow.
Yep. Anyways, I got things to do, so happy 1-year anniversary!
How did she even... Screw it. So overall, the story is pretty good for the most part. There's not a lot of plot holes or problems with it, save for Darkrai returning at the end and the Pokemon Spirit Spin not going anywhere, as well as the cliche, blame the thing that's later revealed to be the good guy shit seen in a lot of films before this one came out. But even with those problems, they're not as major as I thought they would be when looking at the story as a whole, and there's a lot of good to this film that outweighs the bad. I like that the characters got to do something important in the climax, I like the development for Darkrai, I like the bond between Alice and Tonio, I think they utilized the song into the story pretty well. It was overall pretty good story-wise. I also think the characters are pretty good for the most part. Sure, Alberto can be annoying at points, but he gets his comeuppance as the film goes on, though I do think Team Rocket is wasted here. Again, as they don't really do much in this film aside from basically recording Alberto trying to beat Darkrai. But aside from that, Tonio is solid, Alice is likable, and even the 3 trainers are pretty decent in this film, and I do like that they are useful in the climax when they try to stop the area from dissolving into the dimension. Hell, even though I don't like Dawn, I do have to give the film credit for making her relevant in the climax by being a key factor in saving the day. So, good job, film. You made me like Dawn, even for just one scene. I also love the animation in this film, and I'm not just talking about that scene I fanboyed over earlier. The rest of this film looks really good. The lighting is well done, the effects are good, the character models are good, the backgrounds are nice to look at, and even the CGI is good at points, save for some scenes like the poorly rendered Palkia or that piece of debris. As for the music, I also think this is really well done. They are very fitting for the scenes they're used in, has a nice variety of tones and instruments that make the songs stand out from one another. I loved Raytheon, despite it being used a lot, and I felt that each version of the song, such as the leaf whistle version, the piano version, and even the version used in that machine, were really well done pieces, and I felt that each version was better than the one that came before it. It is that good in my opinion. So, overall, I think the music is really good. But I think it's time I wrap this up. Overall, I think The Rise of Darkrai is a good movie, and a good start to the Sinnoh tetralogy. But will this last as the films go on? Well, only time will tell. Thank you all for watching, and next time we meet, we'll be entering the Distortion world in Giratina and the Sky Warrior. See you then.